number 10.
Oh, what was he gonna say? I should have killed.
I don't know, but do you see his haircut? Why is it like shaved?
Whoa, what? Yeah, there's a little patch right there.
There's like 3 little patches.
I don't know what you're noticing, but I'm noticing that. I think this is a new clip. This is a first Corona clip.
That's what I was gonna say, and he whips that mask off.
Oh, that's scary. This guy doesn't give about Corona. Boom.
I couldn't even understand what he was arguing about because it was just beep, 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 swearing the whole time.
I don't know. But he's voting for Trump. Psh, no Corona mask.
That haircut has got to go.
Max Train murder trial, it went off the rails today. Jeremy Christian was thrown out of his own sentencing hearing after he shouted, "I should have killed you," to one of the victims in the case.
Oh, that's bad.
So it's a murder trial.
Yeah.
So he murdered someone and there's
and then it was like...
He left someone alive?
Yeah.
Whoa. Damn, things just...
That's scary.
Things got real scary. Things got real dark.
That's scarier than his haircut.
That's scarier than that haircut.
They're scarier than the mask it.
Maybe the victim is his barber.
Oh, and so he only got halfway through the haircut and then he turned around and he was like, "Achoo." That kind of makes sense.
We solved this one. Unsolved
Case
mysteries.
closed.
Case closed. All right, from that crazy haircut guy freaking out in court to number 9.
Number 3, you are to do 6 months in the Hamilton County Justice Center. Credit 1 day. Mr. and Ms. Deputy can take her away.
People aren't happy. That's so loud. Oh.
Your ear's bleeding?
Yes, very much so.
Damn.
Do you see the woman that like came from the crowd and was like charged
she was
at her?
jolted.
Ooh.
So that woman who just got sentenced was a judge.
Wow.
So I don't know what kind of bad judgment she did. Or
good one. But still, and then she's like, "Just carry me out."
yeah, she was just direct. She's like, that's what I think that's what I would do if I was sentenced to anything. Like, you have been sentenced to a day in prison.
Live, carry me.
Well, then you'd carry me out. Like, I don't want to.
I'd be like, piggyback, let's go. Oh man. Making our way down the list, and number 8 we have.
County courtroom turned into a circus Tuesday. What was supposed to be a serious situation was met with laughing, smiling, kicking, cursing, and outbursts. Just one day after police say 14 suspects led them on a multi-city chase. The end result, more individuals being taken.
14 suspects.
14, and I think they're all like teenagers.
Yeah, no wonder it got rowdy in there. They're all just having a good time.
Imagine like a police chase with 14 vehicles at once.
I don't know if it was like 14 at once.
Like I'm on car, I see car 13, car 13 turn left. Oh, car 9 is in the garage. How do you operate like a 14? You don't think it's all at once though?
No, I think it was probably like 7 and 7, like 2 cars.
Just.
Or maybe it was all 14 in one car, like a
you think like just
car.
everyone in one car?
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know. I really don't.
I thought like 14 cars.
That would be crazy.
But I forgot
though.
you can have like multiple people in one car.
I just forgot. Like, oh, the seatbelts back there, we can actually use them? Oh man, it's been me in my car.
And imagine being the passenger to O.J. Simpson's police chase.
Ooh,
that would be insane. That'd be sick.
Wow.
I wish I was around for that. Was that during our time? How old were we? I don't know. Too much science on that one. I don't know.
Chris goes, it was 94.
Yo, you said 94? Well, that's just common facts for you? Yo, let's fact check that.
Fact check that.
Our producer Chris thinks 94. If he's right, I'm scared because like, why do you know that?
94.
Oh, just common fact, 1994. If it is. Wait.
95?
95?
Oh, 1994!
Whoa, that's not common knowledge.
Wow, that's crazy.
That's not common knowledge.
He was a part of it. Wow.
I'm a little scared. I'm a lot scared.
That's kind of impressive though. Not gonna lie.
All right, moving along, number 7.
She doesn't know that I did that to that woman.
Oh!
Oh my.
The judge is getting the heck out of there. It's like, oh, I want nothing to do with that. This guy just flipped the table.
What did he throw in the first half? He like whipped the computer? No, what was this? There's no computer on his desk.
That was a computer, right?
I don't know. He whipped something and you just...
Well, I was like, is that 2007? So that was like a big
Chris probably knows
desktop.
That's him.
This guy just freaked out. I don't know what he did, what crime he committed, but he's not wanting that.
No. How come he wasn't handcuffed? They just let him...
Yeah, they trusted him. He came in with a nice shirt and everything. Trusted him.
Coming in at number 6 we have...
I find you guilty of the offense charged. I'll set your sentence at confinement in the penitentiary for a period of 99 years.
So a woman named Elizabeth Escalona was sent to prison for 99 years for supergluing her daughter's hands to the wall after she was struggling with potty training. While she was stuck to the wall, she was hit multiple times until she sadly passed away. During Elizabeth's hearing, her family members had a breakdown after learning her sentence.
Counsel, is there any reason in law why sentence should not be pronounced at this time? Safely held, to be turned over to a duly authorized...
She was actually getting so loud and disruptive that court officers had to shush her. Then while being escorted out of court, Elizabeth's mother breaks down in tears after being harassed by reporters.
I want the people to know about your daughter. She was described as a monster for so many days in court.
All right, moving right along, just like that. Number 5, let's see who we got freaking out.
Here's the MSP.
Well, sit down.
Here's the MSP, the 15th to be hereby suspended.
Hey, sit down again. For a second I thought he was having like a seizure because all of you hear the little like he's just starting to shake and stuff like that. But he's just being disobedient. He's a criminal. He's not gonna listen. But what is that? 1, 2, 3. That like how many officers do you need in this? And are those like off-duty officers? The guy with just like the black shirt? Seems like a room just full of officers. I guess you never know. That one guy looks like he's like 6 something. He's like, he came into work real big. And that guy's just so small. Like I'm pretty sure a one-on-one, like if that guy told me to sit down, I would lay down. I would like, it'd be game over for me. I'd be shaken. I'd be like, yes, sir.
Coming in at number 4 we have... This next video is of Jaleel Hoskins. He was sentenced to 50 to 100 years in jail after murdering his girlfriend, Latrice Mays. The two got in an argument after Latrice said she was going to move out of her home that she shared with him. Things got heated between the two and he killed her in a fit of rage. During his sentencing, he freaks out at the judge and multiple officers had to restrain him. And then the crowd starts to get rowdy and a dispute breaks out among them.
All right, number 3.
Believe that competency is an issue in this case.
Well, I was going to say,
I would
this no.
Whoa! What the?
What happened? Did he get tased?
Do you want me to explain to you guys what happened?
Yes, obviously.
So this is how it went down. I have no idea what happened.
Oh. I thought you actually knew.
I have no idea what happened. Like,
all of a sudden he just starts cursing. He's like,
did he get tasered?
That's what I think. He got tased, but you don't even, I don't know. And why is he kind of dressed like a bumblebee?
He's like, you can't sentence me if I confuse you. He's like the judge is probably like, whoa, let him free, let him free.
Well, maybe he like faked a seizure or something.
He tried to fake it? That's a pretty bad
Like,
fake.
I don't know.
How would, I don't know. That's pretty bad. That's pretty bad faking that.
Unless he did get tased.
I think he might have gone tased, like, just maybe it was the lawyer. No, but that's
the lawyer's like, shut up.
I see the lawyer's hand, but maybe it's like a low-key tase. Like all of a sudden it's just a. Because we don't say who did it,
No.
right? It could have been anybody. Maybe he tased himself.
Who knows? Plot twist. And at number 2 we have...
You're gonna shut your mouth or I'm gonna have some duct tape put on it.
Judge John McBain wasn't playing around during the sentencing. Basically, the convict, 31-year-old Camilla Gamet, was convicted of killing her boyfriend Marcel Hill. But during her trial, she showed no remorse. While the victim's family was talking, she just rolled her eyes and laughed, which caused McBain's first freakout. Then later on in the hearing, he went off on her.
You gutted him like a fish in that apartment too. You were relentless. You stabbed, you stabbed, you stabbed, you stabbed, you stabbed until he was dead.
And in his closing statement, he says that he wishes that she dies in prison.
I agree with the family. I hope you die in prison as well. You know, if this was a death penalty state, you'd be getting the chair.
Wow, he did not hold back one bit. He just... That's all I have to say.
He just karate chops his way out of there. And finally, to end this video at number 1.
I have the right to stand. I have a right to stand in court. No, they don't want to stay on these. I will see you tomorrow. By then you should be. By this date that doesn't move. My chair's being.
I'm not sure what he was saying. He has the right to stand.
He thought he had the right to. I don't know why he would want to stand, but he wanted to stand, and he says he has the right to stand.
He just tried to make a fuss out of nothing. I mean, you're a prisoner. You're quite bored. You want attention, right? So I mean, you got the attention of like how many officers there? How many?
True.
A lot of people in suits. Why is that one guy in white? Is he like the big guy? Like he's the boss man out of them?
I have no clue. But they did not hold back. They're just like, sit down.
Yeah,
sit
you
down.
are not standing today. Not today. The judge's like, we'll see you tomorrow. Why can't you just finish? Finish it up.
He had to get fingerprints done, and he kept refusing to get fingerprints done because they knew he was guilty, and he was found guilty. But yeah, he needs to get his fingerprints done, and he's like, nah. Instead, I just want to stand. Don't know why he wanted to stand so badly. Maybe his legs were numb, going to sleep, little pins and needles. He's like, can I please just stand? I have the right.
What is that? I wonder if that's true. A lot of crazy laws in the States. It's gotta be your right to stand, right?
I don't know. That sounds like something a Karen would pull. I have the right not to wear a mask. I have the right to stand.
Let's get into this one. Number 10. So that was actually the father of 3 victims who was sexually assaulted by Larry Nassar. Larry Nassar, I know the name probably sounds very familiar to you guys, but he was the USA gymnastics doctor who sexually assaulted more than 150 women. He was sentenced to 175 years in prison.
My page only goes to 100 years. Sir, I'm giving you 175 years, which is 2,100 months.
In court, this father just couldn't stand Larry Nassar, so he wanted to hurt him himself. So he actually appeared in court, and then he asked the judge this.
To grant me 5 minutes in a locked room with this demon. Would you do that?
Of course the judge said no, but this father did what he wanted to do anyways. He was outraged. He was furious.
Can't do that. That's not how our legal
Well, I'm
system
gonna
works.
This father is so lucky he wasn't charged for this attack. In fact, nothing actually happened to this father at all. He was only given a warning.
Just for the record, you need to know that I could give you a jail sentence. I could fine you up to $7,500.
Okay, so let's move on to number 9. Now this one is different. There was an outburst in court, but this isn't what you guys think. A man approached the judge for a crime he committed, and as soon as he realized who the judge was, he had an outburst. He broke down in tears and he was crying.
Sorry to see you there. I always wondered what happened to you, sir.
Oh my goodness.
This is the nicest kid in middle school.
Oh my goodness.
That was Judge Mindy Glazer, who actually went to middle school with the convict who was 49-year-old Arthur Booth. And the Judge Mindy remembered him as this like very, very nice kid. Well, as soon as he realized who Judge Mindy was, he started to break down and cry.
Mr. Booth, I hope you were able to change your ways. Good luck to you.
Oh my goodness.
Number 8.
Man, my brother got 13 years old. Stop saying that.
It was an explosive
explosive and
So that was his sister freaking out when she found out that her brother Lance Dyer has just received an 11-year prison sentence for stealing a vehicle and leading police on a high pursuit car chase. Lance was just 16 years old at the time and he had a gun on him. When police got close to him, Lance bailed from his car and he ran outside. He tried to get away from police officers, but he was also aiming the gun at a police officer. A police officer shot him in the hand and he was quickly arrested. At number 7, we have Michael Thomas, who had a huge outburst in court. This man is so dangerous and is so unsteady. He had to appear in a courtroom where whoever attended the court hearing in the audience actually had to stand behind this glass wall. They couldn't be in the same room per se.
Don't do that!
Police officers even had to calm down the friends and family members in the audience. People were so on the edge that more police officers had to be called in. I think at one point there was over 20 officers in one room trying to handle the situation. Michael Thomas ended up being sentenced to 35 years in prison plus 10 years of extended supervision after he pleaded guilty to 2 charges of first-degree reckless homicide in the murder of Sharon Staples and her unborn child during a robbery that actually took place back in 2011. Moving into number 6. There was 26-year-old Jaleel Hoskins who lashed out at the judge by throwing his stand down, and he made a move towards the judge. I don't think that, threatening a judge is a good idea because your life is literally in their hands. So what are you thinking? Jaleel pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and tampering with evidence. By pleading guilty, he has a chance at parole at some point in his life, but he was sentenced to 25 to 75 years, which is a huge range. Jaleel's mother was also freaking out in courtroom right after the sentencing was announced. Alright, number 5, we have a judge who just can't handle this convict. What you're about to see is a convict who just won't stop talking, so the judge said that he is gonna have him gagged. But the convict continues to speak, and you guys won't believe what happens next.
I'm gonna gag you in 1 second, so just listen to me.
You're gonna have a bad day.
None of that.
Oh, you clear.
Put the tape on me, man. We done.
Is this real life right now? I'm not even sure that this is allowed. This must violate this man's rights. I'm not trying to defend the convict here, but he was trying just to defend himself because he felt like he wasn't being heard. He was being accused of 4 armed robberies. Just to make light of the situation, there was actually a funny part in this video. At the end of the video, the judge starts talking again, saying that he will have his chance to speak, but it's not going to be now. And then all of a sudden, the convict, he was still able to talk. He was still able to speak, even though the tape was on his mouth. And it took like 10 police officers to put the tape on this man's mouth, but every single, they just did a horrible job.
Mr. Williams will have a chance to speak.
And I'll be monitoring everything I say.
Number 4, this next clip is a little bit hard to see, but what you're about to see is a judge who starts to freak out and he actually leaves his seat. It looks like the judge was about to fight this convict.
Stand up. You're going to jail for a year in the county. 365 days county jail.
I mean, this is something you don't see every day. So after the judge walks away, the man starts to fight with the officer in the courtroom.
Put your hands behind your head. Put it down.
Moving into number 3, we have a murderer who tried to exercise his rights to stand up in court. I'm not sure if this is even a right to be able to, stand up in a courtroom, but police officers told this convicted murderer to sit down, but he wanted to stand up.
No, they don't want to stay when he's gone.
So that guy was actually being convicted of the beheading death of a 19-year-old. I mean, that is just so sickening. I think not only this guy doesn't deserve to stand up in court, I think he deserves to just be, forgotten about in prison for the rest of his life. This next one is super hard to watch. At number 2, we are about to see a father who confronts his son's killer.
You don't need to be laying no mental hospital. He need to go to prison, man. Come on, sir. He want to play crazy? He wasn't crazy when he murdered my son, man.
This father was freaking out because the man who killed his son was trying to get leniency by pleading insanity, meaning he wasn't in, the right state of mind when he committed the murder. So he'll be able to get a lesser of a sentence, he'll be able to serve his time in a mental institution. I feel for this father, and I would be freaking out as well. I couldn't contain myself in this situation. There's just no way.
His back was turned to you, man. He was trying to get away from you, and you murdered a man like you. You murdered a man like that. Why you doing that?
When I first watched the clip, I had tears in my eyes. I just couldn't imagine what this father was going through. And finally, at number 1, we have a judge who freaked out.
You were relentless. You stabbed, you stabbed, you stabbed, you stabbed, you stabbed.
The judge was so angry because he was sentencing a woman who was convicted of killing her boyfriend. She showed no signs of remorse. At the end of the sentencing, the judge said, "I hope you die in prison."
The family, I hope you die in prison as well. If this was a death penalty state, you'd be getting the chair.
So starting us off on this list, and at number 10, we have a guy who had to be dragged out of a courtroom because he feels like he can't be ordered to stand up. Apparently it's his right to be seated whenever he wants to. And right now he wants to. That was Alan Miller McCarty, and he was sentenced to 20 years in prison. As soon as he was sentenced, he started to freak out. Watch this.
Unborn child of the prosecutor directly in an open
What a bunch of guys, you stupid piece of
then also
You threatened my life, you
in the
you
Well, that guy had choice words for the judge. Judge was only doing his job. It seemed like the convict didn't even have a lawyer present. McCarty is from Florida, and he was originally in court because of a child custody case, and he was threatening the prosecutor's unborn child. Well, McCarty ended up getting 20 years in prison for threatening to kill the judge. That has to be the dumbest move ever. Why would you threaten the guy that has your life in his hand?
No, I'm not standing.
Stop resisting.
I'm not resisting. I'm just not
Stand
standing.
up.
I'm not standing. I don't have to stand.
Number 9, we have a man who actually wanted to stand up, and he's pretty adamant about it. Watch.
I have the right to stand. I have the right to stand in court. I have the right to stand in court. No, they don't want to stay on these.
I'm not sure why these convicts act like babies in court. Why can't this guy just sit there and be civil? So that was 40-year-old Koaharu Govin, who was found guilty of strangling 17-year-old Sharavia Thomas to death, and then he stuffed her body into 2 laundry bags and just left her out in an alleyway. So that took place in Brooklyn. This is just so sickening. I mean, what is the world sometimes? Govin might also be facing another murder that he committed back in 2005. New evidence came forth with that case, and it leads to Govin. So this guy might be in prison for a very long time, and then he could stand as long as he wants. I mean, stand up for 40 years if you want to. Moving into number 8. That was 19-year-old Shondell Jackson, who appeared in court for sentencing when he kept turning around to the family of the person he killed. The person yelling was a woman. She was freaking out saying, "I hate you." It might be a family member or a friend. And Shondell kept trying to look back at the family to smile at them. But the officers in the courtroom had to restrain him.
It all started when Jackson turned towards the Potter family, something deputies were watching for. At the sentencing today, prosecutors played this 12 News video of Jackson's February conviction.
I don't know what's wrong with this guy. He just shows no remorse at all, and he's trying to get more reactions from the family. Shondell, because of his actions and little to no remorse, he was sentenced to life in prison without the chance of parole. Well, I guess now who's smiling? Alright, number 7. I think it's always hard to come face to face with the person that murdered your family member or friend in court. Well, you're about to see a convict coming face to face with the family, and the family and the convict totally freaks out.
In the courtroom as convicted killer Akiva McRae is led back to jail.
Is this real life right now? I understand the police officer telling the family and the friends in the courtroom, to settle down, but what if you were in their shoes? I would have so much anger. I'm not sure I'd be able to just sit there quietly while the convict goes about his life. I mean, his life is behind bars, but I think maybe instead of the officers yelling at the families, they could have just, left them alone, allowed them to compose themselves, give them some time, instead of just yelling at them like they're the convicts or something. Like you're not allowed to have any emotions.
The courtroom was full of loved ones of Kenyatta Barnes.
Number 6, we have a convict who is heavily secured by police officers in the courtroom. Well, you're about to see Markeith Lloyd, who is from Florida, and he's being accused of killing his pregnant ex-girlfriend and an Orlando police officer. Markeith Lloyd appeared in court trying to represent himself because he has no regards for the law or law enforcement. While in court, Lloyd started freaking out on the lawyers prosecuting him.
He's already been placed under oath. Everything you say is being recorded, sir. So
She should know that. She a lawyer. What's she talking for?
so here's what I'm going to go ahead and do. I'm going to go ahead.
I'm not finished talking because y'all been making up shit the whole time, and then y'all make up stuff on my family, lock them up because my check. I work.
Lloyd was facing the death penalty, so choosing to defend yourself wasn't advised at all. And during that court hearing, he was saying that he's going to represent himself, and then I was watching other videos of another court hearing, and it was a long one. I watched it, and the judge was really telling this guy to defend yourself, get a lawyer. Eventually he did, but that's insane. Well, Lloyd is saying he didn't do it. There was a lot of guns that went off that day, and the only proof right now is shell casings that match the same gun that shot his ex-girlfriend and the police officer, and the gun was found where he was arrested. So that is the connection right now. I'm sure they're gonna go into more DNA evidence, they're gonna go into a lot more, because this guy is facing the death penalty, and just imagine he actually didn't do it, and now this is how he's being treated in the courtroom. And the thing that he was wearing, like that bodysuit, I don't know what that is, maybe to help constrain him. Moving into number 5.
Get out of here, man. Get him out of here, man. Gotta embarrass my family. Where's torturing my son? Mr. Story, tell me, man. Gotta torture my son, man. I got 2 sons, man.
If that guy was my cellmate, I would comply with everything that he said. I mean, that guy is huge, and that's an understatement. So that was a man from Miami, Florida, who was present during a mental health hearing when he noticed television cameras everywhere, and he had a problem with that, so he freaked out.
Son, man. Get him out of here, man. All right, cameraman. All right. Uncle Rubio, West Miami, right? Right, that's right, baby.
Let me read you guys some of the comments on this video. Damn, food stamps have been good to this King Kong. I would hate to be in a cell with that guy. Fat Albert looks better in red, not orange. He wants a Snickers. Number 4. It's confusing to what happened, so let me explain. That took place in a Hamilton County courtroom. The jury just found Roderick Bates and Emmett Jones, the man you just saw, while Roderick kept saying this is BS, this is BS, once the verdict came in, and the police officer instantly took out his taser just in case.
Bates reacted immediately to the verdict.
This some bull, this some bull, man. This some bull, y'all know this some bull, man.
After the conviction, supporters of the 2 men on trial were freaking out. They couldn't believe that they were charged with the murder.
Supporters of the 2 men convicted barely able to hold themselves up.
Alright, number 3.
You have 42 days to appeal. You are remanded to the custody of the Department of Corrections for service of this sentence. Thank you. Your Honor.
Is this real life right now? Did the convict just go after the judge? I'm pretty sure that's the last person you're gonna want to go after. I mean, yes, they are the ones that just sentenced you, but you were the one that did the crime, so if you're willing to do the crime, yeah, you guys know the rest. Now this judge can just add more time. I mean, maybe his life felt threatened. That would be serious time to have served if you're convicted of threatening a judge. And then he wasn't complying with the police officers. Watch this. Number 2.
Yes, you are. Let me go. I got kids and responsibilities. Yo, let me go. Let me go.
Okay, whoa, did that woman just take flight? I think this woman just trying to fly away from all of her problems. She was just like fluttering like
Let me go. Let me go.
The woman was on trial to determine her mental state, and you know what, I think it's safe to say, and I'm no expert or anything, but to my conclusion, I've concluded that she's mentally not fit.
Dr. Susan said that I was competent to stand trial, and Dr. Bradley doesn't like me.
I like how the last doctor didn't give a diagnosis according to her. They just didn't like her. And then there was one doctor that said that she might be bipolar. I think that is the correct assessment. Finally, at number 1, we have a convict who was so dangerous he had to be restrained going into the courtroom. He was tied to a wheelchair and had to wear a spit guard over his head, and there was literally the SWAT team surrounding this guy at all times. You guys won't believe your eyes. I didn't know a man who was tied to a wheelchair like pretty good that he is still so dangerous that you need a SWAT team present in court, and they even have their tactical masks on and their shields. And on top of that, because the SWAT team wasn't enough, you can see so many police officers in the courtroom as well. I mean, who is this man?
In court for a pre-sentence hearing, threatened the judge, threatened the prosecutors, and because of previous behavior, he's to be sentenced today via video conference.
So that was Sean Ricker, and this is what he looks like underneath all of that. Kind of looks like a normal guy, but he's threatened everyone and anyone. Ricker is unlikely to ever see freedom again because he was sentenced to 200 years behind bars. I mean, I have to say it right now. Is this real life right now? His crime sheet is quite long, but just to name a few things, I think he was convicted of like 16 crimes. He was charged for first-degree sexual assault of a child, physical abuse of a child, and reckless endangerment. Because of his violent nature, he was sentenced to maximum security, and I bet he's gonna find himself in solitary confinement. Because if he came to court like that, there's no way they're gonna think he's safe with other inmates.